unique perspectives on immigrant participation in the American economy, and I look forward to hearing from them today. And I would now like to recognize our distinguished ranking minority member, Congressman Steve King, for his opening statement.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to thank the witnesses for appearing here today. I know you all have busy lives and important things to attend to, and yet perhaps I've sat through enough of these hearings now that I wonder why we're holding this one. According to the hearing title, the outcome is already a foregone conclusion. That title is The Role of Immigration in Strengthening America's Economy. I would point out, too, that there has been, I believe, a concerted and willful effort to conflate the terms immigration and illegal immigration to where now America, in normal conversation, doesn't really know which we are talking about, if there is a distinction in their minds at all. But it's my understanding that the hearings are held in order to get information that will help us determine policy. So I'll chalk up the name of the overzealousness and listen to the witnesses. I know that two of the witnesses here are already on record determining that immigrants help the economy and therefore we must legalize the entire illegal immigrant population in the U.S. And again, I draw that distinction between legal and illegal. But not everyone agrees. There are experts, including one who will testify today, whose research has found that low-skilled immigrants are actually a drain on the U.S. economy, and amnesty is not a good idea. One of these experts, who is not here today, is Robert Rector, the Senior Research Fellow at the Heritage Foundation. One of Mr. Rector's definitive studies was on the costs of illegal immigrants to Americans and legal immigrants. He looked at households that were headed by low-skilled immigrants and found that the average household headed by a low-skilled immigrant receives $30,160 per year in government benefits, and that's an average, of course. But they pay an average of $10,573 in taxes. So the net cost to the taxpayer is $19,588 a year. Overall, the net cost to taxpayers then overall is $89 billion a year. I think that makes a strong case that America has become now a welfare state, and it's not the America that we think of 100 and some years ago when people came here on their merits and had to provide their own input into the economy and find a way to take care of themselves. So after Rector went on to find, after that, he went on to find that amnesty would have another staggering fiscal impact. He reasoned that once illegal immigrants became citizens, they have the right to sponsor their parents for permanent residence with no yearly numerical limitation. These parents could then themselves become U.S. citizens, and they would be eligible for two very expensive federal programs, Supplemental Security Income and Medicaid. Rector estimates that the parents' participation in just these two programs would add $30 billion a year in cost to the federal government. And he goes on to estimate that in all, should illegal immigrants receive amnesty, the governmental outlay and retirement costs, including Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, and Supplemental Security Income alone, would be at least $2.6 trillion. So over the years, this subcommittee and the full committee have examined the effects of immigration on states and localities on a number of occasions. In San Diego, the full committee explored the impacts that the Senate-passed Reed-Kennedy amnesty bill would have on American communities at the state and local level. We heard testimony that Los Angeles County is being buried with the health care, education, criminal justice, and other costs associated with illegal immigration. We also heard from a witness from the University of Arizona Medical Center at Tucson, and I've been to visit that center on these immigration issues, who said that providing care to the uninsured, uncompensated poor and foreign nationals cost the hospital $30 million in 2006 and $27 million in 2005. He also related to me in my visit that the hospital has been filled up and they've had to life flight the residents of Tucson to Phoenix because there wasn't room in their hospital because it was full of illegals. And more than a decade ago, at a hearing on this same topic, Michael Fix of the Urban Institute told the Judiciary Committee that, and I quote, "There is a broad consensus in the research that the fiscal impacts of illegal immigrants, that is, their impacts on local, state, and federal taxpayers, are negative, generating a net deficit when they are aggregated across all levels of government." Despite the evidence already collected by this subcommittee, the majority has decided it's time to look at this issue again. Unfortunately for them, the real expert on the panel today concludes the opposite of what the majority asserts. And I would lay another piece of this out, and that is that as much as we might talk about the contribution to the economy and the growth in our gross domestic product, and I agree that any productive work adds to that GDP, there's also a cost to sustaining citizens in this society. And we have to balance those two things and take a look at how our culture evolves and what we are like as a people in future generations. That's been part of the considerations in previous immigration debates that this country has had, and it's been some of the foundation of the policy that has emerged and exists to this day. So I would ask this: whatever the analysis of the economics, we have also the rule of law that to me is priceless. And so I will stand on the rule of law, and I'll take a consideration to the economic comments that are here today and see if there's a balance to the two, but I'm certainly not going to sacrifice the rule of law for an economic interest, because I think that is more important to this country. Thank you, Madam Chair. I look forward to the testimony of the witnesses, and I yield back the balance of my
The
time.
gentleman